For the 23-24 season, Talking Wolves are proudly sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than a game.
Green King Sport venues are showing every single one of Wolves' televised fixtures over the course of the season. So instead of turning to the internet for a dodgy stream, why not get together with your mates, go to a Green King Sport venue and get closer to the action?
Now, this season, Green King Sport have launched a Green King Sport Instagram page. It's home of fan content, loads of giveaways and competitions on there. They've actually got a Champions League final tickets giveaway on there at the minute. Hopefully they're doing it next season because you might see Gary O'Neill's Wolves side in that, the way things are going. But there's loads of other prizes on there, signed shirts and much more.
So to make sure you're first to know about all the action over on the Green King Sport page, go and drop them a follow on their Instagram. And obviously you'll be helping us out here at Talking Wolves as well.
Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cooper, and today I'm joined alongside two of our regulars. Dave, how are you, mate?
Very well, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How was your night last night? We're recording this on Sunday night because of the amount of games we've got coming up, but I heard you had a little bit of a late one.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest, but got the old Jean-Paul Gaultier on, little aftershave, go out into Wolverhampton, Weatherspoons. And then ended up in Pot World. So, yeah, it wasn't pretty. But no, it was all right. It went quick. Enjoyed myself. Got home about 4-ish. Been in bed for about 12 hours ever since.
Yeah, I remember texting you about half one, quarter to two, maybe, wasn't it? I said, are you watching the draw? You were like, I'm in bed.
I didn't even know the draw was on today. Honestly, I thought they normally do it like the Monday night, don't they? So I didn't even know the FA Cup draw was on. So, yeah.
I don't drink half as much as I used to, but the thought of coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning, mate, like, it horrifies me. Like, do you not feel like wank now still?
I'm all right. I think it's because I stayed in bed for so long. If I had to get up and go out or something, I would be all right. But I've sort of just drank water all day, so I'm all sound.
What's in your right hand now? Not that, the other thing.
No. I've still got a glass of water, but I've got a Maltese lager here, Chisk.
Nice.
So cold can straight out of the fridge, mate.
Where did you source that from? Is it actually from, like, do you buy it
from
Malta?
Yeah. My mum and dad have just come back, so he brought like a crate back of him. So nice one.
Nice. And we're also joined alongside Jordan. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Not too bad. Bit of a confession, which is I'll rather be upfront about it. I bet you're wondering what I'm going to say now. It's not that bad. I haven't watched the Arsenal game. I saw the last 15 minutes. I was working yesterday, and in situations like this, I would try and watch the whole game back. But judging from what I saw on Twitter, and I watched the reaction, Dave, and I listened to watched the fans react too, it doesn't feel like I've really missed much. But saying that, I mean, like I said, I saw the last 15 minutes where I'd imagine Wolves had probably their best spells chasing the game. But I've seen quite a lot of like mixed reaction. I've seen some people say it was crap from minute 1 to minute 90. I know, George, you said it was like year 7s versus year 11s. And I've seen other people saying like they were happy with the performance. It was really spirited and it's something to build off. So does the truth usually lie somewhere in the middle? Because with these things, I think, Dave, it normally does.
Yeah, I think that's probably it about right. I think it is somewhere in between the two. I have seen, again, on social media, I've seen people sort of like, I think overreact is probably the right word in regards to saying, real pressure on for Tuesday now. Like, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Gary O'Neill again if he doesn't win it. Look, I think fans will be disappointed if on Saturday we haven't got anything out of those two games against Burnley and Forest. But with them both being at Molineux, you would hope, we will get something out of those games. But I do think the fact that we scored a goal helped us a lot. I think the scoreline probably does flatter us a little bit to that extent. But I think when you look at it, Arsenal top of the league, us being away from home and not particularly having great, form away from home and having 3 or 4 key players missing, I think the performance and you can still take some positives out and elements out of that performance anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I said, I haven't seen all of it, but I think I was expecting a wider scoreline, considering the suspensions and injuries we've had. I've seen, and again, I think it's a bit of an echo chamber anyway, Twitter, but I've seen a couple of accounts, as you probably expect, calling for O'Neill's head after the last. I mean, you know me, like I'm quite glass half empty anyway, but I was a bit shocked, Jord, when I saw a couple of those tweets. It was I think Jord Ruff 7. The account.
Nah, you won't be getting that from me at all. I think, I think my tweet yesterday was a little bit in jest with the year 11 versus year 7s, and it wasn't the fact that I don't think we huffed and we puffed, but I just feel like the golfing class was vast to see, especially with the injuries and the suspensions we got. And, I feel from like minute 15 to minute 85, Arsenal played in reverse, really. We didn't really get close to them. We didn't really impact them in midfield. It was a pretty much a non-event, in my opinion, for that game. But I mean, people calling for Gary O'Neill's head, it's like, judge him over, you judge him how he does against the Burnleys and Forest of the world, not the Arsenals and the Cities and Uniteds and all that sort of stuff. And let's be honest, he's probably above par when it comes to these big six teams anyway, with the points we've picked up so far and the performances in the bank. So, yeah, anyone who's calling for Gary O'Neill's just either pissed or wants some sort of interaction in their life, because they're just doing it for talking shite, basically.
Twitter blue engagement.
Yeah, pretty much.
Enjoy your £1.40 at the end of the month, mate. Dave, I think most Wolves fans, if we were honest with each other, weren't expecting anything going into the game. As George just said, they're a bit of a non-event. But did it look like the Wolves players were kind of echoing that approach, where it was just a bit like, no one expects us to win, so can we really be off?
Yeah, it was a little bit frustrating in a way. I thought Wolves probably showed Arsenal a little bit too much respect, and I feel that we can't keep going into games conceding early. That is something that Wolves have to address. In the last 3 games, we've conceded in the first 10 minutes. Yesterday, it was 2 before the 15-minute mark. And against any Premier League team, even with the Fulham game, when you go 1-0 down, even if you're better than a team, it's difficult. It is difficult, especially away from home, to fight back and get back into the game. So that needs to stop, really. But I felt the first 15 minutes, first half an hour, Jord, it probably was like a year 7 versus year 11 game. We could not lay a finger on them. The way they were knocking the ball around. And I think the quality of both goals, Arsenal will be happy with. I think after that, they just took their foot off the gas. And second half, Wolves were much better. But yeah, it did feel like, especially after that first goal, I thought this could be a really long afternoon. And I was fearing that it was going to be a repeat of last season's performance at the Emirates. But like I said, the scoreline in the end, I think, looked a lot better than what it could have been, really.
They've got so many good players, though. We were chatting about it before we come on, who can manipulate the ball, can take it at speed, first touch with left foot, right foot. And I mean, looking at the highlights for the goals, Jord, you can see a real golfing class purely from just how quickly and how efficiently they move the ball through the thirds, rather than sideways, like lesser teams like we would. But I still think for the first goal that I think Wolves could have done better. I know there's been a lot of praise on Jesus and Saka, but for me, mate, I'm looking at Craig Dawson and thinking, what are you playing at?
I don't think Dawson covered himself in much glory. I don't think Bueno. I don't think Bueno did. Well, I mean, Bueno did himself any favours either. To be honest with you, with how he dealt with the first goal as well. It's just such a simple goal, and in terms of it's a stark contrast from the second goal, which is just pure class from an Arsenal point of view. Where sometimes you hold your hands up and go, they've moved the ball quickly. It's just a very well worked goal. I think the first one was very avoidable, and would be disappointing. You go to these sort of places, and you need to keep it tight, and you need to frustrate and make it and slow it down and just make it a bit grotty. If I'm being honest with you, and it's not the start we wanted. I think we were 1-0 down within 6 minutes and 2-0 down within 13, 14 minutes. So it's just pretty much game over at that point, or at least definitely game plan out the window. So yeah, look, it wasn't great. It really wasn't great for that first goal, and I feel like someone like Dawson as well. He'll know that he could have been better for that goal, 100%.
I saw a couple of fans suggest that the last 15, 20 minutes is what I saw where Wolves were chasing the game a little bit. They were frustrated that Wolves didn't start the game like that and pressed more aggressively and took the game to Arsenal. But that's not really how football works, is it? Because I think if you do that, you probably end up being beat 6 or 7. I think naturally, because I'd imagine the game petered out a little bit in the second half, and that goal almost like reignited it somewhat. But you can't get to the Emirates and go get your bollocks out and go gung ho, can you?
If we played that like that from minute 1, yes, we might have scored 2 or 3 goals, but I can guarantee you Arsenal probably would have scored 6 or 7 because you saw how when we were pressing how high our line was. I can remember Martinelli getting in behind and Ketia obviously got in behind and hit the post. Probably should have scored. So they would have created a hell of a lot more clear-cut chances, Arsenal. And I think after we sort of calmed down after that second goal had gone in, we settled down. Our low block frustrated them a little bit more. I think it was a very, very difficult game for the likes of Cunha. The beauty with Cunha is he does try and grab these games sometimes by the scruff of the neck and do what he can. He works hard. He does get fouled a lot. He commits a lot for this team. And now we are slowly but surely starting to see the benefit of him in front of goal as well. It's 4 goals now, 2 in 2 in the Premier League. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to approach many games like that. If you're at home, yeah, maybe a chance, but away at the Emirates, the way they kept stretching us, I felt like at times they made Boubacar, Traoré and Tommy Doyle look like they weren't even on the pitch, the way they were knocking the ball and how quickly they were moving it around and stopping Wolves from having an outlet as well. When every time we picked up the ball, the press from Arsenal just, they were suffocating Wolves. So the way we set up was understandable. It's just that you've got to make sure that you can sit on, frustrate Arsenal for as long as you can before you concede that first goal.
Yeah, Jord, any other thoughts from the game? Obviously, Sar came off injured, but it looks like he'll be all right for Tuesday's game against Burnley. There is a bit of a drop off with Hugo Bueno, isn't there, with Aït-Nouri?
Yeah, there is, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think there was that much of a drop off this time last year when Hugo Bueno coming at Palace, and you thought, you know what, he's been tearing it up for the 23s. Yeah, you can tell there's a distinct lack of quality there. Well, say distinct difference in quality, should I say, not lack of, in my opinion. And then it tails off even more when you put Doherty on the left side as well, which is just but it shows where we are as a club and a side. We haven't got the strongest squad. We haven't got the depth of Arsenal. And you know what? Before the game, a 2-1 defeat at the Emirates, it looks quite good on paper. But in onus, really, we were lucky it wasn't 3 or 4, in my opinion.
Yeah. What was I going to say now? Gary Neal made a couple of comments post-match about not being enough time added on and whatnot, which seems a little bit petulant. But I think they've just taken a little bit out of a longer interview. And another thing as well he was asked about was, and it's only broke today what the actual reason was. It was that Johnny Otto wasn't in the squad, didn't travel. Seems to have had a little bit of a bust up. It is rumoured that it's in regards to, was it the Fulham game, Jord, where he brought Doherty on?
Yeah. So I mean, what I've been told, whether you believe it or not, is that when Aït-Nouri come off the bench when Aït-Nouri come off against Fulham, Johnny was obviously on the bench with Doherty. Hugo Bueno's been injured and wasn't. It was very early on in the game. They weren't expecting Bueno to be able to play that sort of minutes, and Johnny effectively thought he would be on the pitch over Doherty at left wing back. And to be honest with you, with how Doherty performed in that game and how he performed against Arsenal. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but Johnny actually hasn't been that bad this season, and he probably has got a fair point. But yeah, like I say, I heard that there was a bust up, whether it was on the travel back or in the changing room or at the training ground. I'm not quite sure on that, but apparently it's all kicked off a little bit with some of the coaching staff behind the scenes and Johnny Otto. I'm sure it will get confirmed or it'll be all cleared up tomorrow in the press conference before the Burnley game, or Gary O'Neill might want to just keep it behind closed doors. I mean, it's a football club. I think arguments and disagreements happen all the time. You know, things get heightened, but that's what we're led to believe is that there was a bit of a falling out between Johnny and some of the backroom coaching staff.
Although I'm not Doc's biggest fan, I wasn't when he was at Wolves before, but I'd probably put Doc on again instead of Johnny, because I know you said he hasn't been that bad, but I think he's been appalling for about 18 months. I think, and through no fault of his own, I think the injuries have just completely ruined his career. But I don't think he can be trusted. Dave, remember when he brought Johnny on at the Emirates? Was it
when they lost 2-1?
2 years ago now, maybe 2 years ago, and he come on in concrete boots.
Yeah. It's like he won a competition to play. Absolutely awful, man. I was quite excited. I remember when he got subbed on, I was like, oh, sound. But I mean, the only games he's played so far this season, what are the cup games? And man, with the rest of our 11 that we had on, I think I'd look half decent against Blackpool, you know. So no disrespect to them, but I think it's. I can see it from both points. I think there were a lot of people saying they're quite surprised, but I'm sure, obviously, he never turned up last season for the last game when João Martino didn't turn up as well. Johnny wasn't there then. I'm sure there was rumours that he had a bust up with Bruno Lage as well. There was a rumour that him and Jimenez didn't had a few disagreements with Lage. So, but from his point of view, you know, he said to Gary O'Neill in the summer, "Look, I understand there's offers, but I want to stay and fight for my place. If he's working his bollocks off on the training ground and he's fit, when you are a natural left wing back, or that's where you've played for the club for most of your career, you will obviously be disappointed when you've got a guy that is predominantly a right wing back coming on ahead of you."
Yeah, I mean, it's the attitude you want, isn't it? I want to stay and fight for my place, but playing devil's advocate, the cynic in me, that means I want to stay here and collect my paycheck because I can't get that kind of money elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't begrudge him for that at all, because contract's a contract.
Yeah, the worst thing we shouldn't have done. Like, you know, we gave him a 4-year deal, I think it was, didn't we? After he did his ACL, which is ludicrous when you think about it, really.
Saying that though, I remember when Neto come back from that injury and they gave him that 5-year deal, and Dave was like, "I don't know what to do," and that's just daft.
It is though, isn't it?
You're not laughing now.
No, but it is though, isn't it? When you have those sort of like mid to long term injuries, it's like you don't know what sort of player you're getting back. And to be honest with you, Neto was pretty average for 12 months, wasn't he, until the start of this season, and he's finally got back up to speed again before his hamstring. So yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing. And like I say, I understand why Johnny would be disappointed. I sort of get it, but at the same time, he's had 2 ACL injuries whilst he's been at the club, and we've backed him. We didn't try and push him out in the summer either. He wanted to fight for his place, and for whatever reason, his card's marked. And whatever happened in the week is not going to help it. So, yeah, like you say, it's probably curtains now.
He probably would have had a chance, or at least some minutes with the fixtures coming up. The amount of fixtures, Ryan Aiton is still injured, all going to AFCON. You know, he probably would have had opportunities, but he's probably pissed on his chips now, really. So
Gary O'Neill's flagged before that he thinks we're weak in the fullback area, so which is, I think, it's a bit of a strange thing to say, considering we've got like 5 with Totti.
5. No, it's 6 with Totti, though, isn't it? Because you've got Bueno and Aït-Nouri, Doc and Semedo, that's 4. Johnny, if you count him, where he could play both sides. Then Totti, that will be 6. So
Neto as well, if you're a
playing Football Manager.
No, he played someone
Chiquinho, right wing back, isn't it, against Chelsea, and he was unbelievable. Or City, Man City. I thought he was good, man. Yeah.
But which I think is a bit of a strange thing to say. So perhaps you're right there. Perhaps his card's been marked anyway. But unless Wolves pay some of his salary, I can't see him going anywhere apart, like maybe Saudi.
Well, he had offers from Spain though, didn't he? But I think he's on. I think
he's on good money.
Yeah, it's hard for football players because you got to look from both ways. You can think, you know what, I'm on a good wedge here. Do I need to move on? Or do you think for the good of your career, yeah, I need to go, and for the sake, for the sake of that, I'll have to, take a wage cut. But I don't know how long's left on his deal. Maybe end of next season, I think, off the top of my head.
You might want
yeah, you just agreed to pay half his wages or whatever, so at least you're getting off. I don't know what he's on. I'd assume he's on probably quite a big wage, like 50, 60k at least.
Around about that.
Yeah. If you pay off 30 grand of it a week, I know you're still paying him 30 grand a week, but you're saving yourself 30 grand as well.
So I can't even fathom that. Like, I mean, obviously commercially they would have worked the numbers, but I can't understand like getting rid of a player for nothing and still paying his wages. It depends how much of a bad egg he is. So like he's got previous before. I know he was commended in the summer, but you don't know.
We don't know for sure. But there were rumours about him. I'm just gonna say, I think I can just picture him. Yeah, 2025. I can remember him holding a shirt saying 2025. So
still got 2.5 years left then.
No,
sorry, no. He hasn't, has it?
Year and a half, yeah. So not the end of this season, the season after. So yeah, I think you'd you say cash in, but you'd probably move him on. And he looked unbelievable player when he first came to the club, but unfortunately, the injuries have ruined him.
Very, I think unsung as well. Like, how much did they pay for him in? What, 15 million was it from Atletico? Didn't he?
15, 20 million, I think.
From Celta Vigo straight to Wolves and was class under Nuno, but ever since, not good. But with Arsenal being a bit of a free hit, I think these two games, the one in midweek and one on Saturday now, I would be disappointed if we didn't come away with 6 points, Dave. I know you said there's not that much pressure on, but I think there's pressure to win every home game, to be honest, and especially against two Leicester sides. Burnley will no doubt be feeling a bit more confident after that big win, but Nottingham Forest, I think, what is it, 1 win in 10? Something like that?
Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to be Wolves. I've got to be a little bit cautious. I know we've played pretty much all the big boys now already, but we are slightly, the last 2 games we have lost now. Thankfully, we are unbeaten in the last 4 at home. So that, take that little bit of confidence. But yeah, sod's law that Burnley smashed Sheffield United 5-0. So yeah, we need to win these games. I think if you offered me 4 points out of the 2 now, I'd probably say, yeah, go on then. But I think Wolves are more than good enough, especially with the players back, like Lamina and João Gomez, are more than good enough to beat Burnley, and they should be more than good enough to beat Forest. And I'd be more than, Forest especially, the fans give it the big and have done ever since they've been back into the Premier League against Wolves. So be interested to see if Morgan Gibbs-White gets the Mateus Nunes treatment, though.
I don't think he'll get it as bad, but no. I still think he'll get it. Jord, what are your thoughts ahead of these 2 games? Do you echo my thoughts? You'd be disappointed with less than 6 points, or?
Yeah, I'd be disappointed for sure, but I feel like 4's a fair return as well. I feel like football's not played on paper, is it, unfortunately? And you'd fancy us to pick up, we'll be the favourites for the bookies on both as well, maybe even odds on for both games. But I still don't really fancy us in these sort of games. I still go into these games thinking, if they come and if they sit in a low block, or are we going to go there and like play through them? And some of the some teams would play Burnley and Forest at home in the next 4 and put up cricket scores or score 2, 3, 4. I don't think we're that sort of team. I feel like we could get points, probably should get 6 points, but I think you're looking at like by the odd goal both games. Really, I think they'll be Forest especially will be difficult because that's how Cooper plays. Burnley will be buoyant off that 5-0. It probably helps us a little bit because they were getting battered every week, and I thought that Company would have to change it at some point into a bit of a more sort of passive style.
Yeah,
and very pragmatic. But the fact they've gone and put 5 up against Sheffield United, and by the way, that makes that Sheffield United defeat for us look even fucking worse. It probably has helped us a little bit. They've scored 5 on the weekend because they'll come out and play the way they have been, and there should be a lot of space for us to go and exploit behind.
I don't think there'll be easy games though. But the only reason why I say 6 points is just because our home form's so good.
You look though as well. These are, no disrespect to Burnley and Forest, these are the first 2 home games against lesser opposition as well, because every game we've had at home so far have been against teams that you would class as top 6 or teams that are in European competition. We haven't played anyone in the league of lesser opposition, so this is why this will be an intriguing test. I always back Wolves under the lights, on a Tuesday night at Molineux. I think the last time. I think it was Palace away, I think, the last evening game in the Premier League that I can remember. And obviously on a midweek. But I just feel Wolves are always, we always do all right. But the big one's Forest. That's the one I really want to see Wolves get the 3 points out of as well. And it'll be like World War III again on Twitter after that game, regardless of the result. Yeah.
Bit of needle in there between Forest. Do you look at the team that played against Arsenal and what kind of changes do you make, Dave? Aït-Nouri may be back for Burnley. He may be back for Forest. Neto, there's a little bit more coy about that, but I take it Gomez and Lamina are straight in for you.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, I didn't mention, obviously, Boubacar and Tommy Doyle against Arsenal. I felt with how strong Arsenal were, they struggled obviously to get into the game, but at the same time, which I mentioned on the reaction, both of them still sort of showed the qualities that they possess in a weird way. Like Tommy Doyle's distribution was really decent. He showed off his range of passing throughout the game and trying to switch the play. Boubacar just didn't stop running all game. I don't know how he had the stamina to play like he did. But unfortunately, I think both of those, Lamina and João Gomez both come back in for me against Burnley. Bueno as well was okay. I don't think Aït-Nouri will be ready. Again, Gary O'Neill wasn't very clear about. I know he said he wanted him back for the busy couple of weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him not start or not be available Tuesday. So I think Bueno or Doc even at left wing back, or maybe even Johnny if he buys Gary O'Neill a bunch of flowers and gets involved.
I think it's unlikely.
Did you see, by the way, we mentioned Sarabia's comment last week after the Fulham game? He apologised to Gary O'Neill about it.
Did he?
Yeah, he apologised. Yeah.
Was that in a press conference?
Yeah. I think I saw it in the Express and Star article. Yeah.
Footballers are like anyone; they're emotional, aren't they? And I think, especially with Sarabia, he wants to be playing. So you wonder. I mean, I think it's a bit petulant, and I don't appreciate it, but it happens, doesn't it? But I think managers, especially O'Neill, he's only stopped playing a few years ago. I think he understands it, and the way to squash it is just by apologising. I think over the next 2 games, I think we'll see Sarabia get a lot more minutes than he has done the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think he could even come in from the. I think he could come in from the start against Burnley, because I feel we need to go to a more 3-4-3 formation anyway, rather than 3-5-2 against these next 2 opponents we've got. And there's an argument to say that Bellegarde has been good. I quite like Bellegarde. Defensively, has switched off a little bit, and he's brought him off at the hour mark in both games, hasn't he? As well, Gary O'Neill. So I don't think he's been all that impressed with him. So I think you might see Sarabia coming for Bellegarde and go to a more 3-4-3 formation.
I wouldn't be against that anyway, especially against Burnley. I think obviously they were good. They've got players. I don't know. I've not watched any of Burnley, so I don't know if they'll come out and just attack Wolves. But I think we've said it before on the podcast. Especially at home against these teams, you will probably see it more often than not. Them playing with a low block, and I think that will help Sarabia, get a lot more of the ball and be able to show off his end product a bit more. And then for the last 20-30 minutes, then you can bring Bellegarde on and show what he can do, add that bit more energy to the game. But he does deserve more minutes. And I think a player of that quality, his dead ball, his ability on the ball, will cause teams like this problems.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him from the start. I think Bellegarde, like you said, has been impressive since he's come in, but I don't know. I feel like he struggles with fitness a little bit. Seems to be, like you said, Jord, 60-65 minutes. He's coming off, but
yeah,
I don't think playing him in a role where you expect him to track runners, track back, and I know they all have to, but where there's such an emphasis on his defensive side of the game, I think that's a part of the game that he really needs to work on. I think offensively going forward, going past players in and around the box, I think he's a real smart player, but it just doesn't seem to, that defensive side of his game isn't really there. But in a team like
No,
us, against opposition like Arsenal, it's got to be.
Yeah, you've got to do the unselfish stuff, haven't you? To be able to, you've almost got to do that unselfish work to give yourselves a platform to then start playing in the areas you want to play in a little bit. And I don't think he was poor for the Fulham first goal, wasn't he? Like we say, switched off. Then you saw, yeah, exactly. Then you saw the why we bought him in for the quality to set Cunha up for the equaliser at the time. So yeah, look, I think there's a very good player there. I just feel like you may see Sarabia from the start, or Bellegarde play more in a conventional wing position, like he did that against Liverpool, didn't he, on his debut when he played out left, I think it was, and he had a very good game
in the wider areas. But at least with obviously the games are Tuesday and Saturday, so twice in 1 week. I think we will see rotation, but I think now Lamina and Gomez have both had a weekend off, Dave. It might mean that we see both of them try and play the 90. That's if they're not sent off or
yeah. You'll see him. I think at least one of them, obviously Lamina. I think Lamina's looked great the last few games. I think even against Fulham, I think I mentioned it. Just on the ability on the ball, look really, really tidy. And I think a fresh leg Lamina could be a real asset on Tuesday, especially. Obviously, we still need a little bit more from João Gomez. I think we're still very inexperienced. This is his first real run in the first team because he didn't get many starts under Lopetegui as well. So I think for me those two start, and hopefully Lamina we see a bit more from him even going forward, because I think with João Gomez being able to be that sitter, Lamina's getting involved, getting into the box a little bit more, scored in his last 2 home games. So fingers crossed he can get on the score sheet again.
Does anyone know what I mean when I say that we could do with another central midfielder, but I don't know what I'd want that central midfielder to look like? I can't identify what attributes they need, but I just feel like we need something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if people feel the same. I don't know what it is. Because I think we've got athleticism in abundance. I think Tommy Doyle, can pick a pass. I think the other two can break things. But I don't know. I just feel like there's something else missing.
We do need someone that can grab the ball and just drive it forward. And I think Lamina is starting to do that a little bit more. But I don't know. I do understand what you mean. Yeah. I'm looking at Philip Billing, mate. I am. Someone like
that. Yeah. He ain't leaving Bournemouth.
Gary O'Neill tax.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like we're missing something. But we're definitely missing strength in the wide areas. I know that Gary O'Neill wants a number 9, which I'll try and address in the summer. But I think Gary O'Neill said as well, there's only Sasha who identifies as a number 9. Fabio doesn't like playing there. Cunha doesn't like playing there. But I don't know. I'm not sure they're going to go and get the top target in January as a number 9. I'd rather them not bother and wait until the summer and try and get someone that they really, really want.
It all depends on if they can ship Fabio out, though, doesn't it?
He's it's pretty obvious that he's not right.
Yeah, it's done now.
But even Sasha, they're bringing him on with 5 minutes to go.
I know. Sasha, again, his cameo wasn't great at the Emirates, but I think it doesn't help when you look at the context of the game. Again, yesterday, I think Fabio would have been a better choice than Sasha to come off the bench.
You can't expect.
Or if Sasha might have been the right idea, but Wolves were scared to put the ball up towards him. They weren't playing it up to him, or weren't going route one, or weren't putting the ball into the box enough. There was one time where we picked the ball up wide, thinking, right, where's Sasha? Oh, he's the one on the flipping ball on the left wing.
Yeah.
So we don't play to his strengths, do we?
But I don't know what his strengths are though, because I don't think he's too tall, if that makes sense. And we spoke about this before. When you're that big, I feel like you lack athleticism, and he often gets out jumped by 6'2", 6'3" centre halves. I know Gabriel and Saliba are monsters, really, in terms of physical prowess. But
yeah,
I just don't think he's. It'd help if he jumped, so you couldn't get a fucking wrist under his feet in most games.
No, but you got to. I feel like with those sort of strikers, you got to play early balls into the box, haven't you? You've almost got to, tell Sasa just you occupy the centre halves, and it's coming in. Like it's getting to a fullback or a wide player, and it's coming in, and we don't play that way under O'Neill. And yeah, like you say, it was so frustrating. The ball went out left, and I was thinking, right, go on, put the ball in the box. And I realised it's fucking Sasa had his foot on the ball. So it's just like it's probably you got to think about this. Bruno Lage brought Sasa, so he's gone through Lopetegui. I know he was injured for Lopetegui, but Lopetegui and O'Neill, O'Neill might not just fancy him, and that's okay.
He doesn't suit the way we play.
No, he doesn't.
And then when you bring him on, I think it changes the whole dimension of how we play, and it's just like, right, let's try and float a ball up. But he doesn't. I think his hold up play he's okay. Doesn't win that many headers considering his size, and we couldn't cross our fucking eyes at the minute.
It'll be interesting because I think in a interesting scenario, he could genuinely be the player that moves on in January because there was a lot of interest in him previously.
Mm.
On a personal point of view, his missus owns a cafe in Tetnall.
Does she?
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know what she's rebranded it to, but it's used to be the Lime Tree Cafe in Tetnall. It may be the same name. I don't know, but I'm sure she runs that. So I don't know. It's quite a big. It's not just personally for him. Obviously, he's the one that's going to be paying the bills as such. You know, he's going to be on a bigger wedge than she is. But it's not just him moving clubs. You know,
cafe in Tetnall, mate.
But I always feel though, as well though, where it will be okay, Sasa, if it does end up that we move him on at some point, is there's always a market for like these big strikers, isn't there?
Yeah,
because there's like people just think, you know what, it's plan B, isn't it, for a lot of teams? It's plan B, and you know, he's a big fucker, isn't he? So
technically, I think he's quite good though. He's not a big fucker, but like he's a big fucker. He's not very good at being a big fucker, if that makes sense.
Well,
but we still want to try and use him as a big fucker.
Yeah.
I remember, Dave, and you're right about Bruno Lage wanting a big striker. Remember the transfer podcast we used to do when Lage was having it large in charge? We literally had a segment dedicated to like forwards over.
Who was it though? Who do we have? Onuachu.
You had the French Don.
Oh, Jord, mate. Oh, yes.
Jord, Onuachu. Seferovic, who was 6'3".
Harris Seferovic.
Who else was there? There was Sasha came up. Kiefer Moore.
More.
There was quite a few, weren't there?
Well, the thing is, though, Gary O'Neill had Kiefer Moore last year, and it was a similar sort of situation. He didn't play a lot, but or he may have done it again. I didn't really keep tabs on it, but he wasn't the sole starter for Bournemouth. But you think as well, obviously, you said it was a Bruno Lage signing. It was a signing under the previous recruitment regime as well. That would have been a Scott Sellers sort of someone looking at that. Matt Hobbs again might have completely different ideas. So I don't think he's a player Wolves will rush to move out the door, because I don't think he's a nuisance. I don't think he's a bad person to have around. But I think if there's interest there, Wolves can look at it.
That would be a bit too gassy.
That was a bit burpy. I'm sorry.
If you were I'll put your money where your mouth is. What fee is acceptable to sell Fabio, and what fee is acceptable to sell Sasha in January?
I'd say 15 apiece.
How much? You're not going to take a loss on Sasha.
Sasha was 18, wasn't he?
Yeah, but you say that though, Matt. Like, he's done his ACL in his time with us, hasn't
he? But he has scored. Like, he scored goals this season. I know he's had limited opportunities, but
a goal every 80 minutes still this season, you know.
Unbelievable. What are we talking about?
Goal every 94 in all comps, 12 games, 2 goals.
I think you get more passion out than you would Fabio, definitely. I think you get.
I don't know what to. If you got what you paid for him, you'd possibly. If he's genuinely not Gary O'Neill's cup of tea, I think you move him on. Fabio, I think you get probably the same amount, like Jord said as well.
What, 15 million? That is an awful.
That's why
I don't think the club will sell him. I think they'll loan him out again.
It's if they'll have to loan him out if they want more, but it's a risk because he goes wherever, I don't know where, and stinks out the place. His value is going to continue going down, and you've lost another 6 months on his contract as well.
No, they'll do one of the magic deals where they send them out on loan with no obligation to buy.
Yeah.
Like a Gonzalo Wedge. So,
he's another one.
if I'm Fabio,
that's a massive loss there as well. Massive loss.
Gonzalo Quidge, yeah.
If I'm Fabio, I'm saying I don't want to go out on loan. Just flog me. Like I've got no future here. I need a proper home. Let me go. But then the clubs who you would deem at his level aren't going to have 20 million to spend in January, are they?
No.
Nor are they going to spend it on him because people are only going to bring in players in January that can impact what they're trying to do, i.e., win a title, promotion, like stay up. But what has Fabio shown that you go and get him in a dogfight, for example, that he's going to go and get you 10 goals to the end of the season? I don't think he's shown that.
It's mad though.
Was it Lazio,
Sevilla, loads German teams in Germany.
Yeah,
but
was it Galatasaray, a Turkish team? So
yeah. I think he'd do well in Turkey. To be fair,
he'd suit the Turkish league down to a T.
But I think
some vibes.
I think we forget he's only 21. He's 5 years younger than Kalajdzic as well. He has got a future, but for Wolves, they can't keep waiting and say one day, because I think we know there is something there, but we just, as a club, especially in the Premier League, you can't just keep waiting.
Go away. He's all in on Fabio Silva.
You got to be, mate. You got to back your boys, mate.
I think I don't think there'd be anywhere near as much pressure if he didn't cost. If he cost us 8 million, I think we're quite happy to still have him around the place and talk about his future. But the fact that we spent 35 million on him, I feel like there almost needs to be like a bit of finality to this now. But 35 million is ridiculous, though, isn't it, when you think about it?
Well, I'm saying is Cunha was I know Cunha was one of Lopetegui's big targets, but that was under the Matt Hobbs regime. But I don't think you'll see many deals like this at all now, unless it is a top marquee signing. And I think Cunha is starting to show why we paid that amount of money for him. You won't see Wolves risk that type of money on deals anytime soon again.
The only reason that they paid over the odds for him, and we did by quite a lot, is because Leeds were in for him, Everton were in for. I think he was on the way to Leeds, and Wolves had to pump up the bid.
Imagine him going down to the Championship. They would have lost a lot of money on him, Leeds, because he wouldn't have wanted to stay.
No, yeah, he from the bits I've seen against Arsenal, though, he looked like he led the line quite well, couldn't you?
My only sort of worry with Cunha is that I know obviously he still needs to up his game in terms of goals, and it's good that he's starting to score now, but that he'll just get frustrated soon and almost feeling like he's a big fish in a small pond.
Oh, I don't think he's that good.
But,
he's good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think you're going to get like the big 7-6 knocking around him, sniffing around him, because of how much he'd cost.
Yeah,
I just don't. I think he's stuck a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah,
but I think he really enjoys it at Wolves.
I hope so. No, I hope so. I really do.
I do like him, but I don't think he's. I think the only player that you would be like, okay, I'm getting a bit sick of this is Neto, but that's based on the last 10 games, and also I feel like he's the only player who is rated more by opposition fans than Wolves fans themselves. Like, we all rate him, but he's a media darling, isn't he? With like Arsenal and other clubs. So I think that's the situation there. We've gone off on quite a tangent there with that stuff, but
yeah, it's all relevant.
it's all relevant. Couple of questions before we move on to the all important career path game, and there's some belters in here this week. Charlie has asked, with Mosquera returning in January, are there any other players loaned out that you would potentially look at recalling if money is still fairly tight? I know that Luke Cundle at Plymouth is he's pulling trees up, isn't he? But again, don't think he'd be one I'd want to recall. Mascara. I wouldn't want him anywhere near the first team. He scares the life out of me.
He's done really well in America. Like Mosquera's done really well in America, to be fair. And obviously O'Neill wouldn't have had a look at him before, so it'll be interesting. I think. Excuse me, with the back three, it's probably worth having him around if he's happy to be a squad player for the remainder of the season. I don't think there's anyone else really. Kundal is doing well, but sound I'd keep him there to crack on. There's no point in again us recalling him for him to be fourth or fifth choice central midfielder. Yeah, on games like yesterday, it would have been helpful to have him in the squad. But I think the talent that they've got in the midfield of the 21s at the moment is okay and more than good enough to be sort of fifth or sixth choice. I think Joe Hodge will probably go out on loan in January because he's frustrated. Well, he was frustrated with game time before his injury, but there's nobody else out on loan at the moment I'd bring out, I don't think.
Wasn't the young lad in the 23s, Chirewa?
Yeah.
Tawanda Chirewa. Was he going to come on at the weekend?
Someone was. I would have assumed it because mate, I said that bench. Well, that bench was probably the most inexperienced bench we've had in a long time because they had 3 21s players on there. Because I think Justin Hubner was on there, Whittingham and Chirewa. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we scored.
Yeah. What's happening with Enzo Gonzalez? I feel like he's just fell off the face of the earth. He one of those that we like. I know it's like I was signed in 5 million, like going to be a baller, and then like
I think we all got overexcited.
These guys have ever seen.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, I watched these. You can tell again there's a quality player there, but just not quite ready yet. But he's going away with Paraguay for the pre-Olympic tournament, which like runs from the middle of January to middle of Feb. So he's going there, but he'll probably go to the Olympics next year with him as well, which will be pretty cool.
Do you think that he may be frustrated at his opportunities? Because he was playing week in, week out, wasn't he? For
depends on what the pretense was that we signed him. If we've signed him on the guys that he's going to come into the first team squad almost immediately. I know there's some good sound bites from him when he joined, saying he could be this and he could be that, and he's got big ambitions to play for Paraguay, and he's obviously a talented lad. But I'm sure it is, and I'm sure we brought him on the pretense that with no guarantees, and you probably need 12 months just to get acclimatized and get up to the speed of things and all that sort of stuff. So. Yeah, but I thought it was weird. He wasn't in the 23s game, I don't think, in the week. And then he wasn't on the bench for Arsenal either. So maybe he travelled and didn't make the bench, I don't know. But he wasn't in either.
Do you know the Chirewa, Dave? What sort of position does he play? I mean, I'm not well versed in. I
thought he was a central midfielder, but when the Express and Star put out the article about him on Friday, Liam Keeman put him down as a forward, but he has played. He always plays as they used to play Kundal almost across the front three. So he's a more attacking minded midfielder, but he's a very talented player, very clever signing by Wolves, that is. So interesting.
He played for the first team for Ipswich, hasn't he? No.
I think he had made some appearances, yeah.
You just look at his hair and think like he's going to have like an unreal first touch.
Yeah, mate. His penalty against Sparta Prague the other day was class. But he's a really technically a very solid player, but really, really talented on the ball.
That's good. Hopefully one for the future. Next question. We've had a couple about Bellegarde around him being a good going forward defensive liability. Does he make our strongest 11? I feel like we've spoken about this a little bit, but Leighton has asked, what would you do with Bellegarde when Neto is back and fully fit, Jord?
Thing is, you want to see them both on the pitch because I think they're probably our two most exciting players. But the reality is, Hwang's in the form of his life, certainly his form of his Wolves career, and undroppable right now. Cunha as well has got 2 in 2. Good player and how we play. I feel like we brought, I think if most Wolves fans drew up their best 11, we'd probably all play a back four.
Yeah,
if we
I was
put it
gonna
on
say
paper.
yeah.
However, we know that we probably aren't. Well, we don't look as good in a four. But I think when we started the season, obviously played a back four. I think that was the plan. But now we've had to revert to a five just because of some defensive frailties and being a bit more counter-attacking. It's tough. It's tough to say. It's changed a little bit. Football is quite fluid. I mean, I would like to see Neto and Bellegarde on the pitch together. And I think that if I was to draw up my strongest 11, I'd probably drop. You'd probably drop Totti out the back four, possibly. The back five, and make it a four. And you play Gomez, Lamina sitting with Neto, Hwang, Bellegarde, and then Cunha, and however you want to play them, four interchangeable. That's probably what I would like to see. But we know we're not good enough at the back to do that. We've shown that.
He's not had the opportunity, Gary O'Neill, though, where we've only played one game when Bellegarde and Neto have both been fully fit and played together, or started together, or 2 games, sorry. Because the last one was Luton when he got sent off. And then as he was sent off, suspended, then got injured himself, obviously Neto got injured. And since then, we moved to the back five anyway. So in both games, we played a back four. I know Luton wasn't great, but even at home against Liverpool, that first half, we were really good. So there might be scope to see us move back to a back four at some point when everybody, if all your attacking players are fit at the same time.
Adrian has asked, do you agree with VAR protest planned for the Forest game?
I understand why people are doing it. I'm not actively looking to get involved in it as well, because I don't think the thing's corrupt. I think we spoke about it last week. I don't think that there's corruption, and I think all the banners and stuff, a lot of them are saying corrupt. I think it's just incompetence, really. So I don't know. It'd be sod's law that we get loads in our favour on Tuesday against Burnley, in it, and then. But no, I understand. I appreciate why people are doing it, but I'm not actively sort of pushing to be a part of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, seen some shouts for a whistle, but you know what will happen there? Like, you'll have 30,000 people whistling, the game will get called off, and we'll be abandoned. We'll lose 3-0 on paper.
Yeah, well, yeah, and people then moan about it. Yeah,
yeah.
I get no. Honestly, I understand why people want to do it. I really do, but yeah,
I think the club have got to be really careful.
That's what we said last week, though, isn't it? Like there's incompetent and corruption are 2 very similar words, and corruption means like illegal activities happened, and again, you've got to be able to prove that stuff's happening to be able to project it to a worldwide stage where there's fallback on that. And again, I think people only need to look at, and again, I'm only saying this because of recency bias. We're recording this on Sunday evening. Is like, just look what happened in the Man City Tottenham game when Grealish is through 1-on-1. You know what I mean? Like, that's not again. Why would the Premier League not want Man City to, or Grealish to have that opportunity? Like, that's what I mean. It's just
it isn't corruption.
The referee. No, it's not corruption. The referees are just shit, and we've said this before. And I think that the mad thing in all this is, like, I can't believe Howard Webb's still in a job, because since he's gone in, he's made it worse.
He'll be gone by the end of the season, I think, if it carries on the way it has been. So,
and Rafa's asked, what is Jose Sar's condition after having to leave the match due to injury? He said it's just a little back strain, didn't he, Gary O'Neill? Looks like he could be back. I don't mind Bentley anyway. It's not like you've got a number 2 and you think, oh God, he's awful. I think he'd do you a job if it was for a couple of games.
I think he gets a lot of disrespect, possibly rightly so, after that Ipswich game, because he was awful in that Ipswich game. Yeah, he was good. He made a couple of good saves. I know Arsenal sort of calmed down by the time he was on, but I thought his distribution was good as well, to be honest. So he made a couple of good saves. But like I say, I think Sarr will be back. Just having to pick the ball out of his net so quickly twice, obviously pulled his back in. So, I thought Bentley did an okay job yesterday against Arsenal, considering.
Right, you ready? You ready for the career path game?
Yeah.
I want to win 5 now. I want Jord to be doing a dance on TikTok.
Yeah. So the rules haven't changed. However, if it is a 5-0 whitewash, then one of you will be doing a TikTok dance trend on the Talking Walls TikTok page. Dave's hoping that he's going to chuck random names out there because I think he's partial to a little TikTok dance, and you Dave. I want to see you. Let's see you draft.
Like giraffes. Have you seen that TikTok one, that filter where it looks like Shrek's kissing you?
Yeah.
We'll have to do one of them instead.
Jord won't need the filter. Come on. So your first player started his career at Millwall in 2014, where he made 11 appearances, scoring 0 goals. During his time at Millwall, he went on loan to Welling United in 2015, making 20 appearances. In 2016 to Braintree, making 16 appearances. 2018, Stevenage, 18 appearances, and then 12 appearances for Wimbledon in 2018 too.
Tom King.
It's Tom King.
Oh my!
Come on.
No!
Tom King.
What
Well played, son. Well played.
I was just thinking about someone who obviously hadn't played, that it just felt like a goalkeeper the way it was going with all those clubs. So there we go.
Oh no!
That is well done, Jord.
Pressure's on.
Thanks, mate.
Can't wait for that. So your next player started his career at West Bromwich Albion in 1985, making 24 appearances, scoring 1 goal before moving to Wolverhampton Wanderers in 1986, making 376 appearances and scoring 43 goals. In 1997, he removed to Tranmere Rovers, making 89.
Andy Thompson.
Oh, it was first. It was first.
That was me.
I think that was me.
I reckon that was Jord first.
I'll do as well.
No way.
I'll do as well. I think that was me.
Nah, that's bollocks. That is. Swear to God. He's checking the door.
Check complete.
No,
Point for Dave. Point for Dave.
Dave!
Yeah, go on.
No way. No way.
We're back. Jordy was. It was tight. But I think I did it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they've drawn the lines. They've drawn the lines on the audio waves. Tight game. I reckon this one might go down to the wire. To be honest, I think you might be looking at positions and initials. So this player started his career at Wolverhampton Wanderers in 2003. Wikipedia has him down as making 0 appearances, but I'm not quite sure that's correct.
They're league games, though.
Yeah, so I think he may have made a cup appearance. During his time at Wolves, he had 2 loan spells, both at Chesterfield, one in 04-05 and one in 05-06, where he made 15 appearances in the first one and 21 appearances in the second, scoring 3 goals combined. He left Wolverhampton Wanderers in 2006, joining Nottingham Forest, where he scored 1 goal in 85 appearances. Then moved from Forest to Norwich City in 08-09, scoring 6 in 40. Then to Coventry City. Moved to Coventry City in 2009, where he made 98 appearances, scoring 7 goals before moving to Doncaster Rovers in 2012. He didn't score a goal, but he made 6 appearances.
Mark Little.
It's not Mark Little. George, this is your chance, mate. This is your chance.
Mark Little went to Peterborough, didn't he? That's where he played a lot of his career. Go on, keep going, Matt.
His brother Stuart was good as well. In 2013, he signed for Kilmarnock, where he made 56 appearances, scoring 5 goals before moving to Linfield in 2016, where he stayed there for a year, scoring 1 goal and 11. Then he moved to Glenavon in 2017, where he stayed there until 2021. He made 51 appearances, scoring 17 goals, and that was his last club.
Did you say he played for Norwich in that list?
Yes.
Sammy Clingan.
It's Sammy Clingan.
I would not have got that in a million years, to be fair. So
you are, Dave, mate. You're on the ropes. On the ropes here.
Wow.
Tense.
Jord, that is specialist. I thought we were going to get down to like
that's top
Northern Ireland midfielder SC.
Well, that's what I do remember him playing for Norwich. But that was a pure. Yeah. As soon as you started going with the Northern Irish clubs, I did think, right, it's got to go.
Sammy Clingan, Jesus.
I feel like we've had quite a lot of like nondescript Northern Irish midfielders who have had like a couple of appearances with us and then gone on to have like all right careers. Like Stephen Gleeson.
I was going to say Stephen Gleeson. Yeah.
You ready for your next one? This player started his career at Aston Villa in 1999, making 8 appearances. During his time at Aston Villa, he had a loan spell at Crystal Palace in 2003 and a loan spell at Derby County in 2004. Palace was 7 appearances, 1 goal. Derby County, 11 appearances, 1 goal. He left Villa for Wolves permanently in 2004, making 100 appearances, scoring 1 goal before moving to Blackpool in 2008, where he made
Rob Edwards.
It's Rob Edwards. It's Rob Edwards. Oh my word. Jord, somebody put him out. He's on fire. He's on fire.
Honestly, the fact you give him Andy Thompson as well, he could be on a 4-0, he could be on the TikTok dance here.
It was Andy Thompson was me, but you're going back to the old days. This is more Jord's era, you see. So.
Well, we may need to download the audio after this, and
I'll show when I edit it. I will show you straight away.
Oh, yeah, bit of retrospective action. This to make it 4-1, potentially 5-0. This player started his career at Nottingham Forest in 1996, where he scored 51 goals in 181 appearances. During his time at Forest, he had 2 loan spells, one at Hacker in 97 to 98, where he scored 3 in 18, and then one at Ipswich Town in 99, where he scored 1 in 6. He then moved to West Ham United in 2003, scoring 47 in 142.
David Connolly.
It's not David Connolly.
Oh, come on. Here we go. Here we go.
In 2007, after leaving West Ham United, he signed for Aston Villa, scoring 5 goals in 29. During his time at Villa, he had 2 loan spells in 2009, one at Wolverhampton Wanderers, scoring 9 in 5, and then one at Newcastle United, scoring 5 in 15. He then moved to Blackpool permanently in 2010, where he stayed there for a year, scoring 5 in 16. During that time at Blackpool, he did have a loan spell to Barnsley, where he scored 4 in 10. He then moved to China in 2011 for Guangzhou, where he scored 4 in 10 before returning back home to the City Ground, where he scored 0 goals in 4 games during the 11-12 season. He then went back to Barnsley in 2012-2013, where he scored 2 in 32 before moving to Bristol City in 13-14, where he scored 1 in 2. He's had more clubs than a goal for this. Bloke.
Wait, I think I know who it is. Could you go back to...
I'm not finished yet.
Right,
in 2014, 2015,
try and save your job.
He moved to Hartlepool, where he scored 6 in 53 before finishing his career at Nuneaton Town in 15-16, where he scored 10 in 38. Dave, what was your guess, mate? Before I start going through them again,
what year was he at Wolves?
I don't feel like I can say that, mate.
Well, he asked you if he played for Norwich, the other bloke, and he wasn't listening. Marlon Harewood.
Smile on Harewood.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Just wanted to clarify.
What did you say?
David
I panicked. I went for the 5-0.
Yeah, why not? He was crap at Wolves, and Harewood.
Yeah, but he was on.
Yeah.
He was on that. Didn't he?
It's on the famous picture.
He played the Derby picture in here, Pride Park. I'm sure it is.
I was quite excited when we signed him.
Yeah, haven't
he
now sells wrapped cars, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I've got him on LinkedIn.
Get him on the pod.
Everyone on LinkedIn. Have you updated the scores, Dave?
Yeah, I've updated them.
So the scores at the minute, you've got Dave, who's top of the league with 16 points from 6 games. You've got Jord with 11 points from 6 games. Jord, you're creeping up, and you got Finn with 3 points from 2 games. But yeah, not great. Surely Finn's been on more than 2.
Nah, he's not. Because the last time he was on, you weren't here, so he didn't play. And he's not been here for the last 2 years.
Nice.
He's still with his Mexican cartel friends, isn't
he?
Yeah. Buying sniff on the beach. He's not. I don't think he knows what these. Any other business, boys, before we round it off?
No, I think that's all.
Yeah, nothing from me either.
Nothing. Wonderful. It's been a pleasure.
Apart from us winding up the West Brom fans on Twitter, because you sent me that Connor Cody story because Leicester beat West Brom.
Oh, I've not seen any. I've not seen any engagement.
So Connor Cody actually didn't play, but he put always nice to get a win at this place. And Matt said, "Oh, you should put this on Talking Wall." So we did. And then I didn't look, but I went on Twitter this morning and one of the biggest West Brom pages had quoted it and got like 500 likes. And I was like, sound, I hope that's nice for your Twitter blue as well, buddy. Enjoy the 26p.
Why didn't he play? Was he on the bench? He's not played a lot for him, has he?
No, he's there, Scott Carson, mate.
Yeah, cheerleader,
mate. Yeah,
did try to get him on the podcast, but not having it apparently.
Oh.
So fuck him. Anyway, Dave, where can people find you? Should they wish to follow you?
At Dave as a party on Twitter and Instagram, or Pop World on the weekends.
Football on the weekend. Jord, where can people find you for the next week before you deactivate when someone from the club comes out and says there's nothing in the Johnny rumours?
The
Sasa one.
The Sasa one wasn't. Well, the Sasa one was true, mate. I'm still sticking by that.
To be fair, Gary O'Neill, I feel like he's one of those where he seems a bit like he's happy to throw people under the bus a little bit. No, like the Gary Poundland sketches, like I mentioning no names, and then
Shanice. You know you are Shanice.
Jord was 7 on Twitter and Instagram. And like I say, if no one hears from me by next week's pod, it means the Wolves Gestapo have come and clean me out.
What's the 7 for in Jord was 7?
Favorite number 8.
Favorite. It is actually my favorite number. Yeah. So
where does that come from?
I don't know. Just what I used to wear as like playing football as a kid. Number 7. And that was it. And Jord Russ was taken, and then it was like, right, we suggest all these numbers, and I just thought, well,
I wasn't going to ask where the Jord Russ comes from.
No. But like, I mean, I joined Twitter probably 2011. I was at uni at the time. It was when it first launched, so I'd have been one of the first Jord Russ I guess, to have my pick of my number after my name. I guess so. That's literally it.
So were you number 7 as well, Dave?
No. I think my first ever football number was number 7. Yeah. As a defender, I wore number 7. So
niche. I feel like you got to be a bit of a player to wear number 7.
Yeah, that's why I wore it. That's why they gave me the shirt. So
must be.
Yeah.
Got to be a baller.
I think. I mean, I've not seen Jord play, but I hear good things anyway. Mostly from him.
Yeah.
But
before he ran the show at the content creators. Good holding midfield.
Well, I'd like to give a platform for Ewan and Liam to do their business. To be fair, but I felt like when we played Jace Guy's team, I was chasing shadows. I was literally, I'd got nowhere near him. I felt like Tommy Doyle on the weekend, I think.
Still can't get over that tackle, Dave.
Oh, man, my leg's still bruised, a little bit. Still hurts. Like if I press where it was, hurts,
Man, I'm not surprised. Your leg looked like the...
And there was one.
The Isle of Man symbol,
My foot still... When we played the Wolves staff team, my foot got stamped on and there was like a stud mark there and it's still there now. And it's all like really bruised all there, like under the foot. So I don't know if it's like caught a bone somewhere. I don't know, but it's really sore still.
I think that's done on purpose. Personally.
Agreed.
I think that's for the rumours. Have one of them.
All of them. Both games, yeah.
Before we go, Dave, the lad at Galatasaray, centre half.
Oh yeah, it's not happening, mate.
Not happening.
Victor Nelson, yeah. Wolves.
Breaking news.
This is true. Breaking news. True. Wolves told the agent we're not interested, so that is legit.
Legitimate from the horse's mouth.
Say no more.
Say no more. When the rumour broke, though, I looked and he's barely played for them.
He struggled to get into the team. I think it's because he wants to leave, so that's why they're refusing to play him. I think. No, he's meant to be good though. He's meant to be a good player.
Dawson
that's why we don't want him.
Totty gamers after the weekend.
Respect Totty, please.
I'm M Cooper Wrights, Matt Cooper Bites. We are talking Wolves across all social media platforms. If you are listening on your usual podcast listening platforms such as Apple and Spotify, please drop us a 5-star review if you've enjoyed it. If you haven't, don't bother. If you're new here on YouTube, please subscribe. Let us know in the comments down below whether you've ever tried a Maltese beer. And I'm sure Dave will get back to you in the comments. I don't think I've ever have or ever will unless I've been to more. Can you get these in the UK? Is that UK based or?
You could buy them, but it would cost you. You would pay over the odds, wouldn't you? I think it's on Amazon. I'm sure I've seen it on Amazon. They've got a few. They've got their own soft drink called Kinney. And that's a very acquired taste. I like it, but very acquired taste. That is.
What does it taste like?
It's like, man, I don't even know what they would describe it as. I think they class it as citrusy, bitter oranges, and extracts of wormwood.
Of what?
Wormwood. Yeah.
Sounds like a bush
I like
trial.
I like
You
it.
do agree.
You don't do it. But yeah, very acquired taste.
I don't think we're going to get that many people in the comments.
I reckon
yeah.
anyone that's been to Malta would have either had at least a Chisco or a Kinney, I would assume.
But if it's anything like Italian beers, and I don't like Italian beers, and obviously Malta and Italy are fairly close. I wouldn't want to swim
Yeah,
it.
but if you go to Malta, you're not going to say, "Can I have a Budweiser, please," or whatever, are you? You just have the local beer, wouldn't you?
Pint of Carling.
Nah, none of that shite, son.
No, I don't drink
Not in
Carling.
Malta.
No, but like they may be closely related. I'm not a big fan of Italian beers. But anyway, we digress. Hopefully next time when we do the podcast, we've got 6 points at home and we're all happy. I'd like to see how happy Dave is if we get 4 points, see if he's still chirping up and say he's a happy return. But yeah, until next time, look after yourselves. Be careful in the snow as well. Don't slip over them. I know Dave said that on the end of his.
Oh yeah,
be careful. Please be careful because it is bitterly cold outside.
Just needed Andres. What's it called? Glories in the background. Please be careful outside. It may slippy. Maybe slippy.
I thought it was a nice touch, mate. I thought it was a nice touch.
Appreciate that.
But until next time, take care, and most importantly, please be careful because it is bitterly cold.